Alright, Terran fans, you are about to watch possibly the last Terran versus Terran we will see this entire season. You're not going to find a Terran versus Terran in the Pro League lineups coming up this week. You're not going to find a Terran versus Terran in New York Code because this is the last group, and these are the last two Terrans. One of them is going home, and both of them might go home. This is a bad time to be a Terran fan.
It is a very, very bad time. We were joking a little bit in the break that the one thing that we really need now this season is a TVT in the GSL Code S Finals, so that all the trolls out there can claim once again that Terran is imbalanced and tell everybody, like, I told you from the start they would win. But right now, things are looking very, very sad for Terran. It's the Terran tiers that are out there, and Ryung and Dream, they both still have a chance to go to Code S. Will we see the three Terrans, the three Musketeers? This is going to be the Fantastic Four. We're going to find out one Terran player could still advance. The winner here has to go through Hydra to make it happen. Yep. Daedalus Point is going to be the first map in the Best of 3 series. Let's see who's going to take it. Is it going to be Ryung? Is it going to be Dream? We're going to find out right now here at the GSL Code A. Colin Wolf.
Dream versus Ryung.
Ryung's APM drops to 0. He's not wasting any time.
Yeah. Just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm sad. I go home now. No, they're of course going to fight it out. So we have Ryung starting here as the blue Terran player for Team Axiom. And to the top we have Dream. It was actually, like, we saw both of them at the beginning when we came to the studio. We talked a little bit about it before we started with our group, and they both said that they think the two Zerg players would advance today. In all fairness, they had their chances in those matches that they played, and unfortunately for both of them and for Terran fans out there, they weren't able to go through with it, so they lost, both of them dropping with a 2-1 into the losers match here. And Ryung now in that game that we have, he starts with the gas first, whereas Dream starts his barracks.
Here's the thing. We talk about Daedalus Point a lot. This is a mirror matchup. It's Terran versus Terran. The player who decides to go for Hellions might have a slight edge on this map. Oh, I thought that was a second barracks for a second. I panicked. But it's actually just his first barracks after the gas. But yeah, I mean, the thing about this map is for TVT, the rush distance is really far for Banshees. Can still do it. But it's not the same as when you use Banshees on this map against like a Zerg player, for example, where his third base is like really far, and it's we'll just see. I think that like it's really interesting that we have a fast gas for Ryung because Banshees are going to get to, you know, Dream's base, but it's going to be kind of delayed. We'll see what Dream does as well, because he's just looking like he's going to Reaper expand, so he's going to come in here and get a lot of information very early on.
Yeah, I think Ryung is not really going to play the map, but more the matchup, and therefore trying to start with the Banshee into the game and just play the normal style. I mean, I love Terran versus Terran just for the variety of builds that you have, that you can start into the game, and it's not necessarily like this the system, this rock, paper, scissors scenario that we have in the Zerg versus Zerg, when you can say like, okay, this build is better against this, you just won the build order roulette. In Terran versus Terran, it's much more so that you can actually, each build has its merit, and everything can get ahead depending on how you control your units and what kind of gamble you take. And we have the second gas taken for Ryung, so that already shows us that he doesn't go into any kind of drop play or anything like this. You know, he will start with his Banshees here. And then, of course, it's up to him to do some damage at the top left, because Dream is starting, as you already pointed out, Wolf, with Reaper into Expand and will therefore have the better economy.
Tank with the SCV here, going to actually cause him to possibly lose a Marine. And actually, when the second Reaper gets here, he definitely will lose one, if not even before then. He commits to 2 Reapers, right? Yeah, the second one's going across the map.
There will be 4 Marines on the other hand, so he should lose probably one.
I think only one.
Yeah, there are just too many Marines. If you had like a faster Reaper commitment.
Let's see how he gets into the main though, because if he just walks up the ramp this time, he's definitely not. But if he comes around the side, well, he's just going to walk right up and see that he's only going to get one.
He walks up the ramp, shot in the face, and the Marine just falls over and dies. That was, sorry, but that was funny.
I guess if you're not the Marine, yeah.
Yeah, if you're the Marine, that's not funny at all. But they just walked up and immediately, bam, sniped that one Marine and it retreated. That was an assassination and nothing else.
We have, first of all, Reactor Hellions coming out for Dream. And he does not make any Marines, so he's probably going to be meching.
By the way, we also do not see the Banshee.
Yeah, he goes into Raven. And it's funny because he wasn't scouted. Like, he didn't even go into the main base with those Reapers. So, I felt like this is an interesting choice because, like, Banshee's actually really good against Reapers if he doesn't see that you're going Banshee because then you don't have that many anti-air units. He's playing safe at home. He gets 2 turrets, and his starport's not too behind.
When have I seen in the recent past Terran play just open up with the Raven and go into a one-base play where he had the siege tanks faster? That was just recently.
That was Byung, I think.
That could have been.
And he beat. Trying to remember.
We had so many games, so many groups in the last 2 weeks. But like the thing is, this seems to be like a very, very late expansion that he builds there. He has that Raven, of course, which gives him safety, and the Raven is also going to build up a lot of energy so that he can later use point defense drones and auto turrets. But right now, that expansion for Ryung is super late.
These Reapers are super annoying. Whoa, don't take too many shots there.
I mean, he has to do some damage with that. Because Dream so far is actually looking pretty decent. He has the Viking out there.
Look at this. He doesn't actually get Hellions, Keller. He gets 2 Widow Mines.
Yeah, I thought at the beginning he would just get them as a defense. Yeah, we have the first siege tank on the other hand already.
What if he...
Oh, wow. Oh, my god. Oh, my god.
Now the Reaper can actually start to kill these. The Reaper can actually start to kill these.
Okay, that was harsh.
Imagine if if Terrans didn't have the ability to research siege mode right away. That could have been a disaster. He doesn't have a medevac, so his push that he was planning on coming out here with is totally shut down. And there's a second Widow Mine. I'm not even sure if he knows about it. Now he does with the Raven, of course, but...
Yeah. Runs away.
That's silly.
But that was a beautiful shot. I actually thought he was just outside of the range, and the Widow Mine just peeked up for a second and then immediately went back down under. But nope. That shot got off, and now that Banshee is coming in, and you know what, Wolf? Without any other big defense here, he could pick off all of those. He has 2 Vikings, of course, but like he could pick off a lot of Marines if the Marines try to go in. 1 shot is all that he needs. That medevac there might be a little bit too late.
Could be. Let's see. I mean, I thought we were going to see Mech out of Dream, but I was wrong. He's actually going into Marine Tank. They both are. We've seen this Harass actually do a lot with the Raven and the Vikings.
Yeah, and the Raven, the Viking is completely out of position now for the Banshee. Where's the Banshee? Here we go. Moves in.
Yep, he's totally way far away from where he wants to be. The medevac, like you said, just a bit too late, and he could actually start... The funny thing is the medevac protects the SCVs too, so I was going to say he could just go for SCVs instead because of the medevac, but it helps both, and he's getting a little bit low energy. Where's the Raven?
I have no idea. The Raven is
just slow, I guess.
Just a little bit too slow, that's all. 7 kills, gets another one, 8 kills on the Banshee.
Look at the supply. 45 to 36 harvesters, but I mean, he did a lot of damage with that. Yeah. That Widow Mine was sexy. That was so cool. It was a bit of a mistake by Ryung to walk into it, but
that shot got off. Really, I thought he moved outside the range.
Yeah, me too. I was convinced he was already safe.
And then the Widow Mine is like, gotcha. Gets a shot off, bam, all the Marines down to the red, and wow. So right now, Ryung is the one who starts going into Mech, but for Dream, we have a pretty scary position in the game. Yes, Ryung might be able to turtle here, but Dream he has so many things to choose from. He can start to go and push out, he can take another base if he wants to, he can do whatever he wants here.
Blue Flame is on the way. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He's going into Mech, actually. He has the additional factories. I didn't see that until now. And he had a bunch of Marines earlier, so... Yeah,
he does.
Of course, like, with the Raven that he gets out, this all makes sense. I think I confused the production tabs for a moment at some point.
Yeah.
I had, like, the biggest brain fart ever today just now.
I'm pretty sure you just switched the production tabs up. Like, don't worry about that.
Because I looked and I was like, well, I don't know. Like, they're definitely both not going Marine Tank like I originally thought. You don't go Marine Tank with 3 factories unless you're just going Tank and a little bit of Marines.
Well, this Banshee actually not doing the damage that he wants to do, so this didn't work out for him. Only 2 kills on this one.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you commit this much to Banshees and your opponent has a Raven, you either have to just save the Banshee and hope it's useful later, or you just kind of trade it like you trade an Oracle, you know, just to come in and target down as many as you can. He's not getting out of this. Look at this. Really nicely done by Ryung. Goes for the catch. That Banshee's going to die along with a bunch of Overlords and Hydralisks down there. Nasty.
Yeah, killing this many Banshees is actually a really great start for him. So the Raven pays off completely.
And I mean, just not to cut you off here, but I really like the composition that Ryung is building for the map. It's just a wide open map, so Hellions can run all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. But the problem that I see is that we still have a huge army here for Dream. And it's more about like which oh, once again, do we get a shut off? No,
not staying on the threshold long enough. He's going to get some damage done here on these Marines. And actually, Marines want to get some damage done on Hellions. Can't go into those siege tanks, though. He's going to have to find another way around.
Kill 2 of those, and the army supply is now 17 against 50 in TVT, and even a 4th base already built. So, of course, it's going to be very tough to break through the Ryung's defense. A sieged-up Mech player is very tough to beat here, but at the same time, the 4th already very important here for Dream. And if he can somehow put the pressure on Ryung and make sure that Ryung is not moving out with Hellions, with any kind of drop, with like Banshees, whatnot, then he will have a 4-base economy, and that in the long run is going to give him the lead that he needs to win this game, I guess.
Yeah. 60-60 Harvester count. That's something he's got going for him at least, but I don't think he's going to be able to find his way into the main base here with any drop play. There's a few units to the top right, and I think those are scattered Ravens and the Vikings over here in the main base of Ryung. Could also be turrets. Well, he's going to go over here and siege up this location, which unfortunately for him isn't going to accomplish too much on its own because there's not any structures here, but he can try to lift some of his units up here, and there's a lot of siege tanks.
And there's also another force that is to the top right. He could go into the main base, but this force alone is already doing damage. He's lifting into the main wolf.
Yeah, he's going to go for it.
He has the triple medivac.
What's
there we
waiting
go.
there? What's waiting there is the biggest question here. Was that a secret missile I just heard?
I think so, yeah.
Well, those are just a few turrets, but not enough, actually.
God, he actually surpasses or bypasses them. And now his siege tank is going down immediately after it leaves the factory.
Yeah, and there's a lot of
here.
A lot of damage being done to the add-ons and the production, and especially that one siege tank comes up. But otherwise, this gets cleaned up pretty hard. And look at now the difference in supplies. Dream takes a lead in harvesters, but
yeah, but this is a significant lead in harvesters. He's on 4 bases that he saturates, and he has roughly 15 harvesters more than his opponent, and he's the one still applying the pressure.
Yeah, this is very annoying, especially once he starts to get the siege tanks up here on the high ground. But he's trying to siege push a meching player. It's not easy to do. He's now coming over here, going to eliminate more of the harvesters, which, like you said, with the 4th base going up for him, every little thing counts.
Harvesters killed. That just shows how much he was able to do with that drop in the main base and the one in the natural.
And even the Banshees he had at the early game did a little bit for him.
And now the income is really bad for Ryung. The only thing that keeps the income up at this point is that he has one more mule in the game. Yeah, that's tough for Ryung here. That is a really, really tough position.
He's trying to build this mech composition that's so expensive and takes so long to make. It's very slow. And if given more time, then Dream can just out-upgrade him, continue to contain him with this very mobile Bioforce. And if Ryung gets the maxed out army without, you know, too many of these little traits that Dream is trying to pull off, then he can still come back. It's just going to be a slow and patient way of doing things. +2 on the way for Ryung, and his armor is on the way as well, just a little bit late. But he's keeping his upgrades fairly close to Ryung's, and for Mech versus Bio, that's okay.
We have now a few units for Ryung pushing out, 1 drop to the bottom left. That will spot the 4th base, and that is the one thing that I would be a little bit afraid of over stream, and he apparently shares that sentiment since he sends a few Marauders over.
He Marauders over there even to do it. Yeah. This drop over here getting a little bit of damage done.
Yeah, it kills even more SCVs, and this is just really nagging at Ryung's economy there. Yep, that Hellbat is not going to do too much, and the Hellion either, so now Dream is walking across the map with a surplus of roughly 15 army supply.
I'd like to see Ryung get some Ravens maybe in this game. I don't think he still has the tech lab, but he could swap, get a Raven or 2 that would help him with point defense run against the Marauders that are going to start tearing his army apart, because he keeps the Mech army small. And the Mech army needs to be big, maxed out, and all together to do well against these small little forces.
Hellbats to be dropped on top of the units of Dream, and here comes Ryung moving in. At the same time, a drop in the main base once again, and that's a huge drop. 3 medivacs in total.
Yep, point defense run helping out here a little bit. As you can see, it makes a pretty big difference. Hellbats come down top of these Marauders as well. They're tanking a little. The Mars don't do bonus damage to Hellbats, but he's still able to push his way through here. Another drop over here, meanwhile, at the third base, and it is shut down by not only the turrets, but Vikings there to support.
And Dream just has the better income, which is why he can always do that and throw away a couple of units, risk losing a medevac in the process. He's still 25 supply ahead of his opponent, army supply, and he has the better economy, the much better economy. It's 4 bases against 3 with a much better saturation.
Just look at the income at the top right, and on top of having the better income, his army is much easier to remax. It doesn't cost as much, it's much faster to produce, it's much cheaper to produce, and so he can throw away a group of units and already have a second one ready to go as soon as it's done. And that's what he keeps doing.
The 3-3 started. He's looking at a very great spot. Dream is just on fire there, and Ryung is struggling. He got the last set of upgrades, but he did not start +3. A 5th base now coming up for Dream. He doesn't even know what to do with his resources.
This is a big commitment to turrets by Ryung, which costs him money, but it's well worth it, I think. I mean, look at how many turrets he has on the map at this point. It's insane. I want to see the structure tab. I think he's got like at least 12 turrets.
The question is, will he ever get a 4th base?
Well, that's something that Dream is trying to deny him. 13 turrets, so that's at least 12.
Yeah.
And Raven here in the mix, like I said before, helpful a little bit. He has less than 100 supply, and Dream's armies can't fight him all at once, but he's not fighting him all at once. He's finding little openings, picking away at the army.
Ryung is now getting 2 additional star pods. He wants to dominate the air battle here, and he's dropping his opponent again. He found that 5th base, or the attempted 5th. Took down the SCV already and might even force a cancel on the command center. But Dream is maxed out, 50 supply ahead of his opponent, and he's just getting upgrades. He's getting more and more bases, building the command centers here. He is in a great spot at applying the pressure, always just skirting the edges of those sensor towers.
If there's a mech player who has only a few siege tank lead on you, and you're not making mech, it's one reason that you can look at this game and say, okay, Dream is way ahead. Marauders will finally clean up that last Hellbat. That gave him a bit of a troubled mid-game, I guess, for his economy, but like he has 69 harvesters, still 5 command centers with the one at the top right. Once that finishes, it's not, I don't think it's completed yet, but when it does, he's going to have the ability to make a planetary there. He probably will make a planetary. Well, actually, I guess against Mech, he doesn't want to.
That massive bank for Dream, 5,000 minerals and 2,000 gas.
Yeah, you might as well consider making like 12 more barracks. And like being able to remax like a Protoss with Bio.
He's about to be maxed out with his upgrades for Bio, and that means also he doesn't have to spend any more resources into upgrades. He can upgrade his mech army if he wants to, but whatever he builds here, he has 6,000 minerals now.
But this is becoming, and as funny as it sounds, this is kind of the problem.
Fusion core.
Fusion core goes up, but the problem for Ryung, or the problem for Dream is that his army is maxed out, but so is Ryung's going to be soon, and then he has to start trading like a madman against all these sensor towers, all the turrets that are up, because his army will never beat Ryung's army in a straight up fight, so he has to pick it apart little by little.
I think what Dream is going to do very soon is sack SCVs and just rely on mules.
That would be a smart choice. Here we go. Engagement over here. Point defense drone helping out quite a bit. He's going to lose a lot of those medevacs.
Yeah, he wants to get that 4th base, Ryung, that is. He's going over there and trying to take it. And Dream is just delaying a bit. He wants to go into the battle cruisers now. He's
That's
up
where his bank can go.
11 Vikings, though. And keep in mind that the upgrades are shared for mech units and for ground and air. So therefore, the Vikings have extra upgrades over what we see for Dream. He's currently producing his Banshees and will soon start his battlecruiser production.
If I'm not mistaken, Ryung doesn't have a fusion core, right? Or Dream does, but Dream has the worst Viking count, so he can't use that yet. But he can't even make Vikings because he's up against, he has a maxed out army. Now he starts them because he starts to throw away some of his units. And I think throw away is a bad word for this. I think trade is the better word, but he's using his siege tanks to zone, and then he's got a Bioforce to punish anything that walks on the other way. This little drop harassment over here is starting to take its toll. Maybe even a bunker with 2 Marauders, and it could do a lot for him on the defense.
Well, the Marauders are doing their job already. Have been sent over here. The army supply is starting to be even, but now there's the production of the first battlecruisers.
He's killing his own Marauders to produce them.
Yeah, I mean the amount of resources that he has is sickening.
He's just basically realizing that with his bank, he needs to make a better army. This army is not going to be the one he wants.
No, with that bank, he can just basically decide, okay, listen, I'm going to go for the best army possible that I can produce here, and then I wish you good luck.
He was listening to our cast earlier, and he was like, well, I heard that. Battlecruiser is the best 1v1 unit. That's what Coward and Wolf said, so I mean... It's better than the Ultralisk.
Someone I think confirmed it to me on Twitter as well and was talking about it. With the Yamato cannon, it should actually be the case. The firing rate and the PVS that it puts out there, it's pretty strong.
It's pretty strong. It's got a lot of armor too.
There's those upgrades. He even gets a second armory because he wants to go into the double upgrades, and we have 4 additional command centers just because he
Yamato,
decides it's
Corvid.
time. Yeah, it's time to go for mules instead of SCVs.
Yeah. He's well, he has to deal with the slow push for Ryung though. Now Ryung still has the much better Viking count, and he only has 1 Raven, but the 2 other the 2 Raven to 1 is not going to be enough to compensate for 12 Vikings in difference. And the BC count is only at 2 right now. This is a terrible way to engage though. Unsieged tanks walking into Bioforce with tank support. That's a painful way to lose some of your supply, but 2 Ravens on the way. It's just the BCs. Here we go. PDD's down.
He's building 3
Banshees.
at a time. Banshees moving
causing
in now.
a big problem now for Ryung.
Oh,
or
yeah.
for Dream, that is to say.
19 Vikings against only 8. Dream has to build a few more Vikings if he wants to persist in the next game, in the next fight. He has a lot of units there already, but he really needs to increase his Viking count. With only 8, it's going to be very tough for him to make all of this work. He has the Banshees from the point defense drones, but still. This is also a battle of time a little bit. The bank, yes, it's still better for Dream, and he has getting an incredible army here. But Ryung is on the move, and so far, Dream is not in a position where he can really face him head on.
He's trying to consider going for a counterattack, and I think that's the best choice for him right now. The thing is, these units are not there at home defensively, but he has the center tower, so he can actually... Is the command center just going to let it go?
That's awkward.
He canceled that. Do you think he canceled it because he thought it was actually an army coming his way? And then he was like, oh, wait, that's just the CC.
I don't know. What Dream should actually do is just put it next to his opponent and get a planetary.
That would be very funny.
Just for the lulz.
This is...
Oh, wow. Ryung is building 5 Vikings at a time, gets 2 additional starports. He saw what his opponent was building there, and here comes the army. That's 5 battle cruisers, and of course the Viking count here.
PDDs.
Here comes the PDDs and also the Seeker missiles.
Seeker missiles do not connect very well here for Dream, and now the Vikings of Ryung could kite away, but they don't even have to, and he crushes this.
Ryung is crushing that army, and
4 BCs in production, but that takes a long time. And the thing is, money doesn't do damage. Money is not in your army, and if it's not in your army, it's not helping you win the game. And Ryung is actually just fighting better.
Money doesn't do damage unless someone throws coins in your face.
That's not a lot of damage anyways, as it is.
We can try that out later if you want. That hurts a lot, I can tell you. Well, right now...
Not against a BC. Or against
that is true. That
or
is
against a siege tank even.
Doesn't even put it in scratch. But now suddenly... Dream underestimated the Viking count of his opponent, and he will never be able to win this air battle anymore. He was starting to build a really strong air army, but you know, Ryung could actually... He is definitely in a position where he can take this.
I think Dream is behind now.
Yeah.
I mean, Bank is one way that you can assess the state of a game before maxed out armies, but after that, in the TVT, there's no larva mechanic. He can't suddenly make 8 battle cruisers with larva.
It's the economy that just... sorry, not the economy. It's the composition that just is not good enough for Dream, and Dream is trying to win the air battle still. But he cannot ever match the Viking count that we see for Ryung. That's just not gonna happen. It's 20 against 7 right now. Is that 7 battle cruisers?
Yes. That is 7 battle cruisers.
Well, that's a lot.
You're not blind. This is real. You just got lazy. Your vision's good. This is...
That's a lot more battle cruisers than I thought.
This is actually still a big Bioforce that's rolling around in here and doing damage. Like, Ryung needs to respond to this.
Yeah, I guess I also have to correct my thought, because I did not realize that he was already at 7 battle cruisers. I thought he had much less, and he's going up to 10, and he will have a lot of Vikings as well. And with the upgrades that he has now,
it's going to be a different story.
He could actually win this. I really thought he had a much, much smaller battle cruiser count. Huh.
I still think that Ryung is ahead.
What Dream does not have is, and he builds it now, it's Ravens. He doesn't have a lot.
Yeah, 7 Ravens
for Ryung.
7 Ravens will absorb the full firepower of this army maybe 7 times with point defense drones. If he drops all of them and he has full energy. The ground army for Ryung still has those 15 siege tanks, and it's 28 Vikings to 11. Battle cruisers, if you think about a battle cruiser versus Viking fight, of course the battle cruisers will win cost efficiently against the Vikings if there's no kiting. And if you have this many Vikings, as Ryung has, then there will be a lot of kiting, and there will be a lot of destruction.
At the same time, if Ryung gives Dream too much time, Dream will get as many units as he needs. and then he still has those additional battle cruisers. If he get, that's 30 Vikings now against 11.
He needs to trade his bio though, because he needs more space for more Vikings.
And he will, and he's actually going to treat it very well here. The question now, it's 15 Vikings now for Dream. I want to see the production. There we go. 3 additional Ravens and more Vikings, and now Ryung is trying to get battle cruisers too. You know, this is getting really super close. Dream can definitely get into a spot where he has just the better air army. I don't think that he will... Oh, there will go the battle cruisers, sorry, the siege tanks. At least a few of them. And now he can once again start his production. He's not going to have more Vikings, but with all those battle cruisers, it's still going to get very tough to beat this army for Dream. There's going to be a lot of Seeker missiles, and a battle cruiser can tank a Seeker missile a lot easier than a bunch of Vikings.
It's true. 35. I mean, he's stacking his battle cruisers actually because that way he can hide their number a little bit.
Yeah. Ryung has more army supply now.
I still like Ryung's army. I mean, in my experience, battle cruisers against this many Vikings, doesn't matter how many BCs you have. If he had 15 BCs, if they all die because of kiting, they can't ever shoot. He has to eliminate Dream's Vikings first, and point defense drones and Seeker missiles are going to be a game changer. If Seeker missiles eliminate Ryung's Vikings, then he's going to not be able to kill the BCs.
20 versus 40 Vikings. Oh my god.
These two are not going to fight each other right now. They're both too scared. And I think the thing is that usually you don't have a TVT like this, so both of them aren't quite sure who's ahead and how this is going to go.
This is once again a case of 40 Vikings. Stop.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
And much better fanned out for Dream here.
Dream way more fanned out, and he eats way too many Seeker missiles here.
Those hurt, and suddenly it's only 2019. And I think Ryung
needs to start kiting, but he's not. He doesn't have enough Vikings. Though that's exactly what it said. The Seeker missiles, if they kill everything, it doesn't matter. That's game GG.
Yeah, that was. He clustered everything up, and the Seeker missiles, they destroyed the Viking count. Dream takes game number 1. Daedalus Point takes that win, and Wolf was inspired by Dream. Opens his hot 6. Takes it.
Oh yeah, that was more Ryung's mistake than Dream's success. Dream had a great split, and that was awesome. But Ryung just, if all your Vikings are like that, there's no way to dodge that many Secret missiles. How many were queued up? Like 8? You can't individually click on all of those Vikings while you're trying to kite battle cruisers. All those things together are just not going to add up.
But it was just really nice to see how much we saw Dream spread out his Vikings. He had a much better split there. Really good concave for him. And yeah, as you already said, like we saw them clumped up for Ryung, and that was something that was immediately capitalized on by Dream, who just simply used all those Seeker missiles into the big Viking flower, took it out.
Well, we'll see. Yunsu is the map pick, and so Ryung's probably going to mech again. And Dream just constantly being ahead with his harassment. That's what he's known for. His mid-game, his late-game harassment, his damage doing is limiting his opponent's economy, picking his opponent apart little by little, and taking the whole map. And he literally had basically the whole top arc of the map was under his control, his mind. He built that bank that allowed him to make 10 battle cruisers. How often do we see 10 battle cruisers even affordable in a game with total mind resources?
Ryung looks a little bit frustrated to me, to be honest. Like, at this point, I'm not quite sure if he really has the mindset that he needs to take this game. He looks very, very frustrated with him being in the loser's match, losing this game right now. Let's see if he can pull through and bring us into a game 3 here. Dream is going into the consolation match with a 2-0. The GSL Code S Champions.